The last expansion for Elder Scrolls Online was quite clearly a play for the large audience and fan base that the epic RPG series had built up over the years. Taking players back to Morrowind, this was a region that would have been their first foray into Tamriel, especially as it was the first taste for console players via the original Xbox, and this hefty dose of nostalgia could easily draw players in to explore. By contrast, yes, Summerset does stem from one of the previous games in the series, but it can't lean on fan service in quite the same way. The Isle of Summerset is home to the High Elves, serving as the setting for the very first game in the series, the Elder Scrolls Arena. It is in a lot of ways exactly what you would expect from the description, with an impressive and imposingly opulent city at its heart, pretty surrounding environments, and snooty High Elves that look down on other races. It might initially appear to be a stereotypical depiction of fantasy High Elves, and there's certainly a lot of common ground here, but there's also a darkness beneath the surface, both figuratively and literally. You have the surrounding nature that is filled with creatures more than happy to attack you and anyone else that is around, while the dank waterworks beneath the city are filled with angry crabs and marauders, but there's also other dangers for outsiders to be wary of. It's only recently that the Queen has decreed that the island's borders should be open to foreigners, giving the realm a wash of outright xenophobia to go along with the stereotypical downward-looking isolationism. One of the first quests that you can take on revolves around how outsiders have been sequestered, or in other words, completely detained and then conveniently disappeared, and you're tasked with digging into the underbelly of this city to discover what's really going on. That's not the first grand mystery and threat to this realm that you encounter though, as you initially wake up to find yourself in the Mind Trap, this surreal blend of solid-looking stone ruins and ethereal pink and blue and purple just stuff. You've been shoved into this illusion by a being known as Katora, looking to turn your memories and foes against you in order to subdue you and perhaps turn them to their will. In truth, it's relatively easy for you to overcome them. I mean, it says that you're more powerful than they expect, but this is actually just a tutorial area for you to learn the game's basics before dropping you into the more open world of the MMO. You were rescued from this place, or at least pushed in the right direction, by Oriandra of the Psychic Order, a faction of powerful mages that watch over Tamriel even though they long ago cut themselves off from this world. For the first time in this series' history, you'll be able to learn more about the Psychic Order and visit them in their city of Artaeum, as well as learn the magics that they are able to wield, which can actually control time to a certain extent. Equally intriguing for me, however, is just how far Bethesda have twisted their MMO to feel like a single-player game, and massaged its form to make it as friendly for newcomers as possible. Admittedly, many of these changes came quite some time ago with the 1 Tamriel update, meaning that the game would match its difficulty level to you on a player-by-player basis, but it's still fascinating to see how far Bethesda have worked to broaden the game's appeal. As I took on the early quest, I could see other players from the event running around, and I could even invite them to join up with me, but I never really felt the need to at this point, and the game certainly caters to that solo player adventuring. In fact, infiltrating the Serene Monastery to uncover the truth behind the disappearing visitors to these shores actually felt a little bit more natural to me playing it solo, especially as NPC characters joined me on this mission. Admittedly, there is a bit of a logical break here when you can come out of the Mind Trap and get told that you're the first person who's able to break free while standing in a crowd of other people talking to Oriandra, and similarly, when sneaking around the Serene Monastery, grabbing the clues that you need, you can sometimes see other players doing the same thing. But in fairness, that's something that MMOs have never really reconciled. You're both the one and only possible saviour of the realm and at the heart of the story, and at the same time you're one of hundreds of other individuals sharing this same space. Of course, other players are there for a reason, and if you stick around in this world long enough, then you'll want to take on the group content in the game. There's new delves and bosses to try to take on together, as well as a new 12-player trial and much more besides. It is an MMO after all. As it draws once more upon the sprawling history of the Elder Scrolls, Summerset is an intriguing expansion, and Bethesda have had an almost completely blank slate onto which they could imagine what this high fantasy part of the world might look like, coming to it once more 24 years on from the original game. It's a setting that is bound to be new and fresh for players, whether they've played the first game in the series, whether they've been sticking it through with the Elder Scrolls Online since its own beginning, or if they're completely new to Elder Scrolls as a whole. And that's something that makes it another great opportunity for newcomers to join those that are already playing the game and see what all the fuss is about. Thanks to Zeb for checking out our video. I hope you've enjoyed this very loose overview of the upcoming Summerset expansion for Elder Scrolls Online. It's out on the 5th of June for PS4, Xbox One and PC. Before you go, please do like, subscribe and share this with others if you found it useful, and you can also head over to thesixthaxis.com where we've got plenty more about video games in general. Hopefully we will see you again soon. Goodbye!